Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Was the Conqueror of the Shinobi World. If you guys enjoyed this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So now let's start this video. Otsutsuki Ashura was chosen as the successor of Ninshu because of his ideals of peace. However, this didn't agree with his elder brother, Otsutsuki Indra. Indra thought that since he was the eldest, he should lead the world in his father's place. Angered at his younger brother and father, he tried to fight his brother for the position. After the battle between them, Indra, feeling humiliated from the defeat by his brother, left promising to destroy Ashura and his brethren. Ashura took his role as successor to Ninshu very seriously, going so far as to travel the four corners of the world just like his father, in hopes of teaching people about the special property that allowed one to be one with it, not just nature, and be one with everyone as well. He even gained some followers during his travel. Just like his father, he too shared his chakra with his followers. His children started calling themselves Senju and Uzumaki. He had 2 sons and a daughter. On the other hand, when Indra heard the exploits of his younger brother, he too gained some followers who were against the ideals of peace through love, and wanted to bring peace in the world through power alone. His children gained the power of the Sharingan. He had 4 sons and 2 daughters. His descendants started calling themselves Uchiha, ironically, who too held hate for Ashura's descendant. Time caught up to him, just as it did for every living thing, and it took his life away. Indra, who was a genius, also had a similar fate. Despite all of his natural genius, he was also someone that time removed. Everyone had to die at some stage. Their descendants fell very short of their ancestors' wishes. They forgot their burden and tasks they should have carried on through their blood. Naruto looked at the giant fox behind bars. The Kyuubi had orange, silky-looking fur, with black markings around his eyes connected to his, funnily enough, rabbit-like ears. The upper body was humanoid, including the hands. The lower body was just like a fox, barring the 9 long swing tails in the back. The fire was the closest thing they looked like. The red, slitted eyes looked him closely with a hint of malice. Naruto spoke first. "You're the Kyuubi." Naruto half shouted, and suddenly everything made sense to him. It clicked in his head as he had just found the last missing piece of the puzzle. The glares, the words, the hatred behind the eyes of everyone, suddenly made sense. Kyuubi was sealed inside him. Naruto's face pales, and he finds himself looking downwards. He had many questions in his head, but many of them, why me? Why did the 4th sealed Kyuubi inside me? Why do people hate me then? I'm the reason Kyuubi is not out there killing people. Do they not understand how seals work? Naruto asked himself in confusion. Naruto stood silent and just kept his gaze at the floor, and he didn't understand it. Why did the 4th Hokage choose him? Did he choose him because he had no parents and therefore much more accessible to burden him, rather than someone with parents? Kurama looked at him with concern written all over his face. Well, true, the citizens didn't try to harm him, except 3 times. However, still, he knew Naruto suffered from the number of insults, glares thrown at him every day, but most importantly, he longed for love, for someone to call a friend, for someone to call family. While Naruto wondered why Kyuubi had attacked his village, sure everyone around him said that Kyuubi was a demon, but was it just that? Did he attack the village for no reason other than just being a demon? Go ahead and ask your questions. The Kyuubi snickered at seeing the boy face full at having his mind read. I only have one question. Why did you attack Konoha? He asked firmly before gulping a little as he saw the giant fox narrow his eyes angrily. His tail shifted some as it took a deep and calming breath. Apparently, it was a sore subject. The masked man with the Sharingan ripped me out of my previous container, and put me under his control with that accursed Kage Genkai. I was then taken to your village and forced to rampage through it until your 4th Hokage came and sealed me into you, and that's how we got here. I should warn you that man apparently needed my power for something far beyond simply rampaging through some human village, at least before he was stopped and released his control over me just before I was resealed. He would likely return in the future to try and rip me out of you, and I don't need to tell you that, with this seal, would result in certain death for us, boy. The Kyuubi spoke with an angry undertone. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the prospect of being hunted in the future for what he contained. He decided to move on and worry about that later. While Hagoromo wanted to talk with Naruto, his time was running out, and he needed to explain everything before he left. Coughing and earning the attention of both Kurama and Naruto, they turned their heads to him. Kurama, you said you knew why the Uchiha clan didn't take care of Naruto, so can you shed some light in this manner? Hagoromo asked calmly. Kurama glanced at Naruto for a second, and he wasn't sure how the little blonde would react, knowing that the whole reason why he was alone was that Hokage had refused for anyone to adopt him. The ponytail guy, like a cactus, had requested to raise Naruto. Still, the Hokage had refused, saying that Naruto would strengthen the influence of the said clan and bring unbalance. Kurama didn't fully remember, but Naruto had been in the same room when that happened. Kurama had listened to the conversation since Minato and Kushina had made sure that Kurama could help Naruto from the very beginning for anything, and even talk to him even without Naruto being in his mindscape. Kurama, of course, understood why the Uchiha's clan request to raise Naruto was declined. They had suspicions about why Kyuubi had suddenly stopped and not thrown the Biju bomb in the middle of the village, right before being teleported away by Minato. The Hokage declined any request of any clan to raise Naruto, since it would bring unbalance amongst the village, and you can guess why families with no shinobi background didn't try to adopt Naruto. Kurama spoke with a hint of anger, but sadness as well. Naruto's eyes almost fell from his eye sockets. Why? Why did you do this? Does he not know that everyone else hates me? Does he not care about me? Naruto asked himself and feeling his chest hurting like never before, tears rolling down his cheek. It wasn't enough that he lied to him about his parents, but denied him the right to be raised by a family that could have loved him. His chakra started rising, and a loud cry escaped his mouth. Aha! Naruto started slamming his fists on the floor. The floor cracked like glass, crying and sobbing, his eyes hurting as someone had just burned his eyes, his chest feeling like he wasn't breathing, and pain spreading around his body like a sickness. Kurama and Hagoromo were about to confront him when trees suddenly grew around Naruto, each with a pointy end, and growing around without an actual course. Trees and branches started even growing around the walls and the roof. Naruto, calm down. You're not alone, you might feel alone, but I'm your friend, Kurama said with a kind tone. That surprised even Hagoromo. The trees stopped growing, and slowly the trees that had grown around Naruto moved away, showing Naruto on his knees crying his eyes out. Slowly raising his head, both Hagoromo and Kurama gasped at the Rinnegan in both of his eyes. Rinnegan. Hagoromo thought confused. He knew Naruto would eventually possess the Rinnegan because of Senju and Uchiha blood, but this was way sooner. Before he could actually say anything, the Rinnegan slowly disappeared, and his eyes turned blue again. The moment his eyes turned blue, Naruto felt dizzy, and everything started blacking out. Slowly his body fell in the water. Naruto gasped and opened his eyes to see that he was still in the corner where he was hiding, but he saw several trees had grown all around him. He saw that no one was walking around the streets were empty, and the only thing he could see was the darkness surrounding the streets, the wind blowing around and hitting his face, his sun-kissed hair dancing with the wind. Naruto could hear the tiny sound of a cricket near him. Slowly getting up, he started walking and came out from the corner he was hiding, only to feel several Anbu coming his way. He turned around in time to see the old Hokage show up in front of him and hug him. Naruto was taken back. He thought to return the hug for a moment, but he didn't know what to feel. He felt his anger rising like an angry river. He didn't return the hug. Instead, he just had a blank look on his face and stared at one Anbu looking at them. The Anbu had a crow mask and a sword tightened behind his back, dark hair and dark eyes, but what caught Naruto's attention was his chakra. He could feel that his chakra was slightly similar to his. Ears and Sarutobi received information that Naruto's wasn't in his apartment, and Anbu couldn't find him. After searching around the village, they all had felt a sudden surge of power. Arriving there, he was both relieved and worried about seeing Naruto all alone in the street. The old Hokage noticed the trees that had grown and wondered why. But one thing that bothered him the most was that Naruto didn't return the hug, and didn't feel relaxed in his presence like he usually did, like every other time. This time, Sarutobi almost felt like Naruto wanted to pull away from him as fast as possible. Pulling away, he saw little Naruto trying to avoid his eyes. Instead, he looked downwards and had a blank look on his face. Sarutobi noticed Kakashi looked worried by it. He kneeled at his level and decided to talk to him in his apartment. Naruto didn't say anything and was silent throughout the whole road to his apartment. Usually, he would get excited whenever he spent time with him, but this time he looked like he wanted to do anything but that. Arriving in the apartment, Sarutobi first walked inside, followed by Naruto, who was still silent and refusing to say anything. He walked up to his couch and sat on it and still not looking at the Hokage. Deciding to break the growing silence between them, the old Hokage coughed and walked close to Naruto. Naruto, what happened? Where were you? Did someone hurt you? Hiruzen asked kindly, softly grabbing his hands resting on his lap. Naruto flinched slightly from his contact, which Hiruzen noticed. And nothing happened. I just fell asleep, and when I woke up, I saw the trees, Naruto answered, not looking at the Hokage, still keeping his head down. Sarutobi sighed, knowing he wasn't telling the whole truth, but decided not to pressure Naruto. Moving his hands away, he stood up. Do you need anything, Naruto? The old Hokage asked, wanting to know if the blonde needed anything. Naruto wanted to scream, I need a family, but kept that on his chest like a burden, and instead, he looked up at the old man. I need books to read. The library doesn't really like the demons spoiling their books. Naruto spoke with venom and spat when he said demon. Hokage's eyes widened, not knowing that information. He hadn't thought that people might refuse to sell Naruto various essential things. Nodding his head. Anything else? Sarutobi asked, but Naruto just shook his head, and Sarutobi left the room. Naruto clenched his fists tightly in his lap, his pants almost being torn from the strength of his fingers, his teeth clenched, and anger rising inside him again. Naruto, don't worry. If you need to talk to someone, talk with me, Kurama suddenly spoke inside his head. Naruto was surprised to hear Kurama's voice, and a small smile formed on his face. He closed his eyes. Thank you, but I still didn't get your name, Naruto said gratefully. My name is Kurama, brat, Kurama replied with a slight smile on his face. Naruto nodded his head in understanding and wondered why Kurama was kind to him. At the same time, he asked if he would ever meet Hagoromo again. He still had questions. From what he understood, Indra sought a single individual strength, while Ashura thought that true power came from people working together. Naruto thought that both had a right and that the leader needs to be stronger than the others to protect them, while accepting the help of others, and not relying only on his own strength. Sleep Naruto, tomorrow we will start training, Kurama said, and Naruto listened to him. Naruto soon reached an excellent training field with Kurama's help, and the Hokage had given him many books to study and even ninja weapons and tools to train. Naruto had woken up at 6 AM, ate breakfast and left the apartment. Soon he reached the training field, and Kurama suggested to start by unlocking his chakra. But now to unlock your chakra, and you need to meditate, he said, and saw Naruto raise an eyebrow wanting him to elaborate. What then? He asked, putting his hands behind his head. Well, when you meditate, you will feel this feeling, and you need to pull it towards you, Kurama added, remembering what Kushina had gone through. Naruto nodded his head fast and quickly sat where he thought was alright in a mediating position, holding the fingers of his hands together. Naruto could feel the grass softly touching his legs whenever the wind came around. He closed his eyes and started focusing on finding the feeling that Kurama was talking about. After a few minutes, Naruto felt a very warm feeling on his chest, warmer than even fire. It felt like a fire on his chest. Soon the grass and the trees around Naruto started growing. The grass started moving violently around Naruto, almost like from a strong wind flying around. The ground started splitting slightly around Naruto. The grass on his right side caught ablaze, and on his left side got soaked wet. In front of him, the grass was split in half, almost like from a blade, and behind Naruto, the grass turned brown and crumbled like earth. Suddenly his chakra exploded. Naruto released his chakra, but the chakra risked being felt all around the village. Kurama made sure to close it before the whole village came here to see what was happening. Opening his eyes, Naruto saw the results of his chakra. A few small trees had grown around him, and the grass was a mess around him. While this happened, in a branch close sat a weasel-masked Anbu, Uchiha Itachi. The eldest son of the Uchiha clan leader was among the most trusted Anbu of the Sandaime Hokage, along with Inu aka Hatake Kakashi. Graduating from the academy at the age of 7 and joining the ranks of elite Anbu at the age of 11, Itachi was considered the greatest prodigy from Konohagakure, after Minato Namikaze and Hatake Kakashi, and his clansmen even said that he was the second coming of Uchiha Madara. As he sat atop the branch of a tall tree, he keenly observed young Naruto, who appeared to be meditating to unlock his chakra. It had been over an hour, and Itachi was immensely impressed by the boy's patience. Usually, children this age tend to be impatient and hyperactive. He was confident Naruto had reasonable control over his mind. The weasel-masked Anbu was one of the few people who knew that Naruto was the legacy of their late Yondaime Hokage and his wife, Kushina Uzumaki. Having known Minato and Kushina personally, and Yondaime was like a father figure to him. His mother had once said that she planned to threaten Hokage for not letting her adopt Naruto, but father was able to talk to her down, and not do something reckless. As Kakashi had left the village for some urgent mission, he had asked Itachi if he could look over Naruto, and he had readily agreed to keep an eye on the young boy. He knew what the boy contained, and because of that, the kid had no friend growing up whatsoever, and it reminded him a little of his own childhood. Because those who held great power often find themselves standing alone even in a crowd full of people. Uchiha Itachi in no way was an arrogant person, but he knew he was a powerful and intelligent shinobi, and he was yet to reach his prime age. He was startled when the blonde unlocked his chakra and caused havoc in the training field. To say he was surprised would be an understatement. He wondered how could a kid have this much chakra, and he knew that wasn't because of the Kyuubi. You can come out now, I know you're there, said Naruto. Opening his eyes, he came face to face with a boy wearing a mask around 11 or 12 years of age, waving down at him. Hello, Naruto-kun, said the weasel-masked Anbu kindly, as he offered his hand to a slightly wary blonde. Naruto didn't move a muscle for a few seconds as he blankly stared at the masked shinobi in front of him. Due to his lack of positive interaction with people growing up, he was always wary of them. He smiled in return as he did not sense any negative feelings from the masked Anbu. Who are you, and why is an Anbu spying on me? He already knew the answer. Cautious, huh? It's a good thing to be, stated the weasel-masked Anbu as he lowered his hand. You still haven't answered my question, said Naruto, as he was still trying to sense any emotion from the masked Anbu. Staring at the young boy for a few more seconds, Itachi removed his mask, revealing his face. Naruto was mildly surprised by the shinobi's actions. Naruto always thought that Anbu weren't supposed to show their faces unless ordered by the Hokage or if they weren't working. I'm not here to harm you, Naruto-kun. I simply wish to talk, Itachi replied. He remained rooted in his spot to not raise any unnecessary suspicion in the young child's mind in front of him. Hearing everything from his Inu-senpai gave a vague idea about the blonde's personality. From what he heard, Naruto was far more mature, calm-headed, and smarter than kids his age. He could see his own reflection when he looked at the blonde. Why would you wish to associate yourself with me? Asked Naruto, a bit skeptical, at the raven-haired Anbu. Itachi clearly noticed the awareness in the blonde's tone. He wasn't surprised or startled by Naruto's actions. In fact, he was impressed by the blonde wariness. Tensing of the biceps was a clear indication that the blonde still did not trust him. Growing up, Naruto never made any friends because the villagers feared what resided within him. The very village of Naruto's protecting Trumples every day of his life. After all, it is human nature for people to fear for what they do not understand. Closing his eyes for a few seconds, he took a deep breath and made up his mind about what he had to do. He wasn't a very impulsive person, but this was something that he really felt like doing. Itachi calmly walked closer to Naruto and poked him on the forehead lightly. As Naruto looked up, his eyes widened as he saw the small smile that was present on the shinobi's face. At that moment, Naruto felt a wave of happiness wash over his mind. You are not what people think you are, Naruto. The villagers are misguided and blinded by the hate that shadows their minds. Do not think so low of yourself. The shinobi world we live in is indeed a ruthless place. But we shinobi are those who endure for a reason and protect what is important to us, Itachi explained. His mother had told Itachi to look after Naruto whenever he could, and if he could, sometimes help him as a big brother would. Naruto gave him a smile in return as he himself witnessed the horrors of shinobi life from Kurama's perspective. So are you going to give me your name? Asked Naruto. If Itachi was embarrassed at the moment, he did not show it on his face. My name is Itachi Uchiha, introduced the raven-haired teen. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. Nice to meet you, Itachi-san, replied Naruto giving a slight bow of his head. Itachi was shocked by the manners of the boy. Kids this age introduced themselves like they were being chosen as the next chosen Hokage. Would you mind if I train with you, Naruto-kun? Itachi asked. Naruto smiled and nodded his head. Very well, Naruto said, and took 5 steps back and turned to look at Itachi. The young Uchiha knew Naruto had no real stand in taijutsu, but decided to fix it once after this spar. Soon they both rushed towards each other. Naruto, he first threw a punch towards his face, but Itachi suddenly disappeared. Naruto immediately turned around, ready to kick him. The Uchiha grabbed his foot and threw him in the opposite direction. Itachi was caught off guard by Naruto, knowing he was behind him. Naruto stood up immediately and grabbed a kunai from his pouch, rolling it in his direction finger. He rushed again, running towards him, but threw the kunai halfway through. Itachi saw the kunai heading towards his chest and moved away, but then Naruto grabbed another kunai and threw at the kunai in midair, causing it to change direction. Itachi was surprised, but the kunai didn't fly anywhere close to him despite changing the direction. Seeing that, Itachi suddenly moved much faster, showing up behind Naruto and softly kicking his foot, making him fall to the ground. Naruto kept a cool head and wanted to try and stand up again. When he saw Itachi aiming his kunai at his face, the young blonde stopped dead on his track. For a moment, he feared that Itachi might try to harm him. Still, he smiled and pulled the kunai away before walking up to him and stretching out his hand. Naruto accepted the hand and stood up, waiting for Itachi to say that he was disappointed by him. Very well done, Naruto-kun. The idea to use the kunai like that was a good one, Itachi said, smiling at him and rubbing his hair, much to the blonde's annoyance. Naruto beamed at the words, his face lightened up like a candle. You mean it? Naruto asked with a sense of insecurity in his voice. Itachi smiled again and nodded his head. He kneeled on his level, packed his forehead with his fingers, and smiled. Now then, let's begin a real training. Do what I say, Itachi said with a stern tone, and Naruto nodded his head in agreement. After 1 month. The following month Itachi taught Naruto whenever he could. Usually, he was in missions, but sometimes had time to teach Naruto about chakra control and other various essential things. From sticking a leaf on his forehead to reading books about chakra, clans and other important things. Naruto had taken a liking to seals. After understanding that a seal could hold someone like Kurama on his stomach, the young blonde understood that there was a lot of potential hidden behind Fuinjutsu. Right now, Naruto was sticking leaves on his forehead and balancing kunai on his fingertips. Itachi told him that was an important lesson for chakra control. Kurama had taught him a few things as well, but mostly helped him whenever he was tired, like giving him his chakra, so he could train longer. Naruto spends at least 9 hours every day training Kenjutsu, Fuinjutsu, and Taijutsu. Kurama and Itachi told him that he could start learning ninjutsu once he had reasonable chakra control, and according to Kurama, it wouldn't take long. Naruto had asked Furball if he should tell Itachi anything about what he learned from Hagoromo, but Kurama was against it. He said that despite everything, Itachi was loyal to the village. And Naruto didn't say anything to the old Hokage about Hagoromo or him being a reincarnation of Indra under Shura Otsutsuki, because he still felt bitter that he had declined any clan the request to raise him. Why? Naruto didn't know why a family like everyone else couldn't raise him. Am I really a monster? Naruto quickly shook his head in denial. The leaves on his forehead and the kunai fell to the grass. The young blonde kept a stoic face, but inside, he felt like someone had stabbed his heart. Standing up, he looked at the palms of his hands. The moon and sun symbols still made him confused. Walking through the training field, his hands behind his head, he thought of his parents. Before he could think of anything, he suddenly felt two chakras rushing towards him. Jumping up, a sword cut through the air. Naruto's eyes widened, seeing the masked shinobi with the katana in his hand. Who are you? Naruto exclaimed, jumping away, jumping up to a tree. He turned his head just in time to see another Anbu ready to slice him. Naruto saw the sword moving slower and slower towards his face. Naruto didn't have time to think about what was happening to him before he jumped away from the Chunin level speed attack. Usually, anyone else would be surprised by the kid, but they felt and looked as emotionless as a stone. Landing on his feet, Naruto grabbed a kunai from his pouch and was ready to defend himself. These were Anbu and much stronger than him, and not to mention there were two of them. The blonde knew he couldn't outrun them. He was a kid, and being able to outrun an Anbu would be impossible. Naruto, you need my help, Kurama said in anger. Suddenly Naruto was engulfed in red chakra, and his eyes changed. Now he had a fully matured Sharingan in each eye and red slit. His nails grew on his hands, 2 times longer, his whiskers looking more and darker, his hair grew spiky, a red cloak of chakra surrounded him. It almost looked like made of bubbles. A tail slowly grew behind his back. He was standing on his four, glaring at the Anbu in front of him. Before the Anbu could do anything, Naruto roared at the closest Anbu, sending a shockwave, throwing him against a tree. Naruto immediately rushed at the second one. He moved his right hand forward, and the chakra cloak surrounding his hand expanded and moved towards the Anbu. The hand made of chakra looked 5 times larger than expected. The Anbu avoided the attack, but Naruto was already behind him and sliced his back open. His blood flew like a waterfall around Naruto as well, but he didn't have time to think, as the second Anbu was behind him ready to stab him. Then suddenly, a third hand made of chakra came out from his back and grabbed the sword before it could penetrate his back. Naruto moved his right hand immediately and cut open his stomach. His guts fell in the ground. The blood turned the grass red. The Anbu fell on his knees, but he didn't make a sound, not even moving his hands on his wound to try and hold his guts inside. Naruto's eyes widened when he saw what he had just done. The body started burning, and soon there was nothing left but ash. The chakra cloak around Naruto disappeared, and the blonde fell on his knees, tears running down his cheek. His eyes widened like a plate, his heart beating on his throat like a hammer. I'm a monster. No, Kurama interjected before he could finish what he wanted to say. Don't even think for a minute that you're a monster. You're not a monster, and the monster is whoever sent these people to kill you. A monster is people who threaten to kill a baby in front of their parents. A monster is when someone kills a little boy for no reason other than for the rush of blood. Not you. A monster is when someone forces you to kill the only people that you could call friends. A monster is when forces you to kill numberless people for no reason, Kurama said with honesty in his voice. Just mentioning it, Kurama remembered when he attacked the village when Kushina left the world. Naruto stood silent and thought about what he said. The blonde wasn't stupid, and he knew what Itachi and every shinobi mostly did in their missions. After an hour of nothing but silence, his cheeks dry, he stood up. Thank you, Kurama. Naruto spoke in a tone of relief and happiness, happy that he had someone like Kurama with him all the time. Let's go back to your apartment, Kurama said. Kurama had made sure that his chakra wouldn't expand and be detected by everyone during the fight, but still, someone could have felt Naruto. Tomorrow, Yugao Yuzuki was Konohagakure no Sato's premier swordsman. Her skill with the sword far exceeded the basic instruction that constituted the minimal training that was bestowed upon the Anbu within whose ranks she was assimilated into. As a member of the Black Ops division of her ninja village, Yugao had been exposed to missions most ninja within the ranks of the village couldn't even fathom. Considering this facet of her life, Yugao was understandably upset when the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, assigned her to watch over Konoha's resident troublemaker and pariah. At the same time, squad rotation policies were being implemented. The vast majority of Konoha's adult population was well aware of the fact that Naruto Uzumaki played host and jailer to the most powerful entity known to civilization, as a result of some clever handiwork by the late 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze. In a desperate attempt to save the village he was sworn to protect, Minato sacrificed his life to contain the Kyuubi no Yuko within Naruto. Regrettably, Naruto was seen as a physical representation of the suffering and carnage caused by Kyuubi attacking Konoha. As such, many of the villagers indulged in the therapeutic act of destroying the 9-year-old body and spirit to derive some sort of compensation for their losses. During one of these therapeutic sessions, Yugao was able to track Naruto being chased by Rotund, an inebriated member of Konoha's civilian population. A few short moments earlier, the aforementioned civilian had spotted a Naruto walking by. Naruto turned around at the sound of a wooden crate being kicked aside. The man drunk had a large piece of metal in his hand, ready to harm Naruto, but much to the Anbu's surprise, Naruto dodged the attack and just walked away, not wanting to deal with drunken idiots. Yuga reported the night's events to the Hokage, as soon as she was able to verify that Naruto had reached his apartment. A small smile graced her features as she watched the boy crash into his couch, falling asleep with a smile of his own plastered firmly onto his face. Upon reaching her commander's office, she relayed the events of the night with unerring detail. It was clear to the aged Hokage that the Anbu agent was particularly proud of how the young boy had stood up for himself. The unmistakable hint of pride is what led to the current topic of conversation between the pair. Hokage-sama, Yugao spoke reverently. If you allowed it, I would like to teach Naruto the basics of Kenjutsu, so that he may be prepared for such situations, if and when the need arises. He was up against a drunken man who had no formal training in any form of combat. The Hokage turned around to face the massive window in his office, as he pondered his charge's request. Hiruzen loved the boy dearly, and was painfully aware of the mistreatment he was subject to daily. The idea proposed by Yugao greatly appealed to him until he realized that members of his council, both ninja and civilian, would be in an uproar if they learned that the village pariah was being tutored by one of their elite ninjas. The following actions would only cause Naruto more harm than good, as more populous members might be tempted to cause bodily harm to the child. As the Hokage turned back around to face Yugao, she identified the defeated slump of her commander's shoulder, and correctly guessed that she would not be given the affirmative. Yugao-chan, the Hokage began looking into her eyes, conveying his thoughts on the matter with a mere address. I understand, Hokage-sama. Yugao picked up the signals quickly. She chose to continue, however. I just wish there was some way to pass on instruction to the boy. The pain was clear in his eyes, if only masked behind his determination. That statement sparked an idea in the Hokage's mind. The problem arose from private tutoring and the reallocation of a competent ninja's abilities towards a lost cause in the eyes of both councils, but not the passing on of instruction. Yugao-chan, I want a critical assessment of Naruto's physical abilities and mental capacity to the best of your ability submitted within a week from today, along with a recommended training program for the boy to compensate for any lacking in either criterion. I cannot have you spend time tutoring the boy, as this would be seen in a bad light by the wretched council, but maybe you can pass on your knowledge in written form. Yugao snapped her eyes to meet those of the Hokage. The idea was sound, since instilling the fundamentals of combat need not require an active tutor. Naruto could learn from scrolls about adequate exercises, basic kenjutsu. If he took the matter seriously, he would instill discipline into his life, a value most important for a disciple of kenjutsu. Giving a sharp nod to her commander and a quick salute, Yugao snapped back her mask on and disappeared in a flurry of leaves. The Hokage sighed once again. Sure, a significant problem was on the verge of being solved, but why did his ninja insist on leaving his office using a leaf shunshin? They always left leaves behind in his office. He sighed, a headache ready to split open his head. Itachi had informed him that Naruto was perfectly healthy. While that brought happiness to his old heart, he couldn't help but remember the voice and face Naruto had the last time he saw him. He wondered when Jiraiya would return. Naruto desperately needed someone in his life, but the old Sannin mentioned in his last letter that he had decided to meet Naruto once he became a genin. At the same time, that sounded good on paper. Sarutobi knew that it was a long 7 years for the poor boy. Siding on sadness, he returned to his paperwork. Naruto began on his mindscape. Naruto was in front of Kurama's cage, and his mindscape had changed slightly. Now, instead of just a boring hall with water on the floor, now there were trees around. Kurama had said that he liked the new mindscape more. Why do you call me Kurama? Naruto asked, knowing there must be a reason that Furball called him. The giant fox, instead of answering, just turned his head to his right. Turning, Naruto saw Hagoromo standing there. But one thing Naruto noticed straight away, as he looked more transparent, almost like he was slowly disappearing. Hagoromo-sama, why are you here? Naruto asked respectfully, looking at the older man, giving the young blonde a small smile. I need to tell you something before I disappear. It has something to do with your father, he stated, and Naruto had his full attention on him. Long ago, in a time forgotten by the people of the world, was an era of enduring rage and unending wars. Humankind had been cursed to fight each other in an eternal war. They fought over petty reasons, for performing horrific crimes against one another, or for no reason at all, other than violence and death. Different factions often tried to better themselves by weakening their enemies, so their own military strength could be more significant, only for a greater force to overwhelm them later. Humanity had a curse, a distasteful and infectious curse that all beings were infected with. One, more powerful than any war. The curse of hatred. The potent force that can drive an innocent person to become a beast fueled by rage to hunt down those who wronged them. All the while inflicting more pain, brutality, and spreading further hatred among people. Hatred was like a tree, and it only continued to grow, as more and more people were festered by it. Those who were directly affected by it and those who bared witness to those horrific outbursts of fury, no one was ever safe from it. One may even say it was genetic and could be passed down the generations. But what came after hatred? Most would say healing. They were healing from the pain of their lives and the pain they brought on others. Only an imbecile would believe that it would bring about a stop to hatred. What comes after hatred would be either of the following things: emptiness, where a person would lose everything that was ever close to them, their own self. The emptiness it brought forth was like an ever-spreading fire with nothing to quench it with, or even more hatred, where the anger would blind people to the truth and make them accept that the world itself was responsible for what happened to them. Among the humans and their inherited hatred was a tree. A tree of massive height and equally enormous power. A tree that was worshipped as a god. This tree had a consciousness of its own, but very few knew the full extent of its intellect. This tree watched as the humans around it fought and murdered each other, and cheated on one another for their own gain, while turning a blind eye to others. The tree knew that while humanity had the capacity for good and evil, they overwhelmingly chose the latter option. The tree would often look down upon the humans and be disgusted by what it would see. At times it took pity upon them for their short lives and weakness. The colossal tree didn't know whether it liked being praised as a god or feared like the Shinigami. But it did tolerate the level of respect the humans showed it. Even the tree, with all its foresight, knew that one day wisdom would be lost, hope would diminish, fate would be turned in different directions, and justice would fall. It was merely waiting for that to happen and for humanity to be entirely consumed by hatred. Every 1,000 years, the god tree bore the fruit of immeasurable power and destruction, a fruit that held its power within. The reasons why one could not lay their hands upon this fruit had been lost to ages. Thousands of years ago, a man named Tenji was the leader of the land of ancestors. He desired for peace and tried to avoid direct confrontation with his opponents to avoid wars being waged. He wished for a peaceful alliance and negotiations with them. One day he came across a lady who could be considered a goddess at first glance in terms of her beauty. She wore a white robe with 6 tomos in the front and purple lining near her arms. She had beautiful silky and straight hair, the same color as that of snow. But what mesmerized him were her eyes. They were pupilless, giving off a silvery glow. He saw her gazing at the night sky with such patience. He had not seen this person before in his land, so he spoke to her. "May I know who you are?" asked Tenji curiously, looking at her. The lady, for her part, didn't reply for a while. A few seconds later, she turned to look at him. "I'm Kaguya Otsutsuki." He found her voice to be very melodic. "Where do you come from? What do you desire here?" And again, Kaguya didn't reply for a few seconds. She didn't know if she could confide to him what she wanted or where she came from. For what she felt of these vile creatures called humans, they were filled with anger and darkness. Yet from him, she couldn't feel much of it. "I desire peace. Peace among everyone. A place devoid of wars and hatred." She looked at him and saw the man nod his head. "I come not from another land in this world, but from the stars." Tenji, for his part, was surprised to hear this. Wanting to know more about her, he began to make small talks with her. After that fateful day, Tenji allowed Kaguya to stay within his palace. He was glad there was another who shared the same ideals as him. They began to meet each other more often and spend more time together each passing day. Soon enough, the two became lovers. His devotion to Kaguya's cause for peace made him threaten his own followers with death if they dared threaten peace with the land of Vat. After Sukazu, the minister of land of Vat, tried to kidnap Kaguya, Tenji was horrified of Kaguya's godlike powers when he witnessed her kill many of his soldiers in self-defense. Eventually, Tenji decided to betray his love to prevent a war from breaking out. However, as the two sides attempted to capture Kaguya, she ate the god tree fruit and gained unimaginable powers. With her new abilities, she cast the infinite Tsukuyomi. As Tenji fell victim to the genjutsu, he asked her what she was, unaware that she was carrying his children. Kaguya Otsutsuki, for her benevolence for ending the wars and stopping the spread of hatred, was named Rabbit Goddess because of her 2 horn-like protrusions, which resembled rabbit ears. Like the Shinju, Kaguya was also worshipped as a living god on earth. People bowed before her in respect and reverence for her power and divine will that many considered had no equal. However, Kaguya had not broken the chain of hatred, instead, it merely fractured it. She forced more people to submit to her iron will to stop the hate from spreading. Her power, which was once praised, soon came to be feared, and instead of being called the Usagi no Megami, she came to be known as the Oni, demon. At some point, Kaguya gave birth to 2 sons, Hagoromo and Himura. Both children were born with the same power as their mother, the ability to use chakra. These 2 boys gained legendary prowess of their own, using their own innate ability. When Hagoromo and Himura found out about their mother's inhuman act of putting people under her control and using them as puppets, they wanted to confront her. But Hagoromo knew that he didn't have enough power to go against his mother yet. He soon came across a toad by the name of Gamameru who could utilize natural energy. Intrigued by the power in Senjutsu chakra, both Hagoromo and Himura went to Mount Maiboku in Gamameru. There Hagoromo learned to utilize natural energy, Senjutsu chakras. When he returned to confront his mother, he was further shocked. Hagoromo was horrified that his mother, who had given birth to him, could become one with the vile creature in front of him. During the confrontation, Hagoromo awakened the Rinnegan, God's eyes, due to the pain of harming his brother, Himura, who his mother was controlling. Hagoromo was fortunate that Gamamaro had given him a tag with the kanji for heal filled with sage chakra, which he used to heal his brother from the mortal wound Hamura received. Why, mother? Why would you commit such atrocious acts? Don't you care about the people of this land? Asked an enraged Hagoromo. Chakra is everything. It's life, and it is soul. It needs to be whole again, you insolent child. You dare betray me? Spoke Kaguya with an emotionless face. The two brothers fought in a cataclysmic battle that scarred the very earth. With all their power, the two sons had fought to the near end of their will to defeat the beast, which was their mother. However, the Jubi was connected to the world, just as the world was connected to the Jubi. It was immortal. So, if they couldn't kill the beast, the creature had to be sealed inside a person's body, not to bring about even more catastrophe. Thus, Hagoromo sealed the chakra and soul of the beast within himself, and the body of his mother sealed off inside the moon, which he created with one of his decisive moves, Six Paths Shibaku Tensei. The husk of the 10 tails was sealed inside the moon as well. So, Hagoromo became the world's first Jinchuriki, and like his mother before him, his own power soared to new heights. He, like his mother, became a god. One even more revered than his mother, wielding the greatest weapon in the world chakra. Hagoromo, who later became a monk, came to be regarded as the Rikido Sanin, sage of 6 paths, while his brother Hamura went to live off his life on the moon, where he could be close to their mother. Hagoromo created a religion, one which people would aspire to and believe in and give them hope. This religion was named Ninshu, later known as Ninjutsu. He aspired to bring peace across the lands by teaching people about chakra and its uses in a peaceful manner. So, Hagoromo shared his chakra with different people who were willing to follow him in his quest to bring about a change in this world. He hoped people would connect the chakra with their spiritual energy, yin chakra, allowing others to understand each other. Hagoromo later in his life had 2 sons. The elder one was named Indra Otsutsuki, and the younger one was called Ashura Otsutsuki. Hagoromo knew that he could not live very long, even with his physical solid chakra, yang chakra. The reason is the extremely potent and vile chakra flowing through his chakra coils. Thus, he intended to teach his sons and his current followers, who he viewed as companions, to teach all he knew about chakra and Ninshu, before he could pass on the mantle to one of his sons. Indra and Ashura had a relatively peaceful childhood growing up. Ashura was extremely close to his big brother Indra, whom he idealized and hoped to become like him someday. Indra, well, you could say he was more secluded from the 2 young children, but he still cared for Ashura a lot. When the time came, both Indra and Ashura began to learn Ninshu. It was pretty clear that Indra was more intellectual and more into his studies, and practicing the practical aspects of Ninshu compared to Ashura, who would mostly say, "It's boring. Why must I study this?" One could say Indra was a prodigy in the field of Ninshu, while Ashura was the complete opposite. One day, Indra created more practical uses of Ninshu by stating that one can use various elements of the nature by changing the flow of chakra in their body, and molding it differently by going through hand seals. People were highly impressed by this discovery, and some even started whispering about Indra being the one who would carry on the way of Ninshu. Although Hagoromo was pleased that his son was progressing in Ninshu and extending its uses somewhere, he had a nagging feeling that Indra would seclude himself more as his prowess increased. At the same time, Ashura would remain in his shadow. Still, he had high hopes from both his sons that they would do what he wouldn't be able to in his life, that is, bring about a revolutionary change in this world that will make people understand each other even better, and create a world filled with love and harmony. It later became clear that Indra acquired his father's yin chakra and visual prowess, spiritual energy, while Ashura acquired his father's yang chakra and strong body and longevity, physical energy. As in the following years, Indra awakened his Sharingan, Copy Wheel Eye, while saving his brother from a rampaging bear. Ever since Indra awakened the Sharingan, he seemed to have become colder towards people. He started visualizing that one can conquer anything through the power, and always stuck to what is correct and incorrect, and abode by his rules. Compared to his brother, Ashura was not too advanced in the usage of Ninshu, and he could never keep up with his brother during training sessions. Although, people liked Ashura's more cheerful and easygoing attitude, which made him easier to talk to than Indra. One day a friend of Ashura came to him asking for his help. Ashura, my mother seems to be very ill, and the cure which I'm looking for is across the forests, and getting there through the woods will take time. You practice Ninshu, yes? Could you help me out? The man said pleadingly. Ashura was considered a friendly and helpful person, thus, people mostly came to him or Hagoromo when needed. Yeah, I suppose I could do that. Just wait here and watch me, Ashura said with a smirk. He did specific hand seals, and a strong gust of wind was blowing from the palm of his hands, which tore down a pathway to the end of the forest, making a quick way to the end. Later that day, Ashura was reprimanded by Indra for blindly helping someone without considering the matter, because of the man who Ashura helped just wanted the forests cut down for his own selfish gains. Indra later locked the man in a dungeon and warned Ashura not to go near him. Ashura, being a forgiving person, went to get him out. However, when Ashura got the man out of the cave, the dungeon was inside the cave. They came across Indra waiting there. What are you doing, Ashura? Did I not tell you not to go near the imbecile? Indra asked in a monotone voice. His face showed no emotion whatsoever. "Nai-san, we should give him another chance. Punishing someone for such futile acts is not the way. And he hasn't harmed anyone," said Ashur. "It doesn't matter. What he did was against the rules, and he must pay the price for it." It was said in such an uncaring manner that it made Ashur flinch. Ashur jumped in front of the man to protect him. Indra jumped towards Ashur and pushed him towards the tree. Ashur hit the tree before falling to the ground. He wouldn't admit it, but his Nai-san hits hard. Indra, quicker than a flash, had his hand inside the man's chest sparkling with Rashin chakra, lightning chakra. "Nai-san, why did you do that?" Ashur was astonished that his Nai-san could kill someone just like that. When Indra turned to glare at his brother, Ashur saw the three tomos in his eyes spinning in a threatening way. That moment he saw the hatred in his brother's eyes. This world needs order. It needs change. And it is only through power, and one can hope to bring about such a revolution. That's all, Indra said darkly before vanishing from the spot. Ashur, for his part, could not comprehend why his brother started acting maliciously ever since he awakened the Sharingan. He often felt intimidated by those eyes but shrugged it off, thinking it was nothing. After a while, he made a grave for the man and just stood in front of it in the stillness of the night. When he turned to his right, he saw his Tuisayan father, standing beside him. "Indra has changed, Ashur. His eyes are like my mother's. Those eyes give him unimaginable power. He desires order in this world and wants to do it in his way. The way he goes about Ninshu is not how I intended it to be spread," Hagoromo said with a tired sigh. After a few seconds of silence, Ashur walked away from the spot. As years passed by, it became more noticeable why Indra was hailed as a genius. He could accomplish anything with little to no effort and started living a solitary life. He primarily believed other people would merely inhibit his growth and potential. Ashur, on the other hand, could do nothing on his own. But through his determination and will, along with the ideals of relying on others, his friends, did Ashur's talents bloom like a flower in spring. While, unlike Indra, who led a solitary life believing that others would only hinder him, Ashur became a capable leader, amassing many loyal followers, most of whom were his childhood friends. He, like his father, wished to begin to spread Ninshu to the world through the help of his friends. In the end, Hagoromo, seeing both Indra's and Ashur's accomplishments, did the sage choose between the two of them, the heir of Ninshu, the prodigious son Indra, or the no-good, untalented Ashur. Knowing of his younger son's exploits and the quality of never giving up on the good inside people, gave Hagoromo hope that cooperation and love would bring about true peace. At the same time, lust for power and dominance would only bring about temporary peace. Thus, Ashur was chosen as the heir to Ninshu. Hearing this, Indra walked out of the room angered at his father's choice, while Ashur was shocked. "Father, why me? Nai-san would do a better job compared to me," said Ashur. "Well, I do believe Indra is ahead of you in certain aspects, but Ninshu should be spread to teach love, compassion and be used to bring peace. One must be kind and filled with love and have great patience for that. Those are the qualities I see in you, my son." Later that night, when everyone was celebrating, Ashur went to meet his father again. A doubt somewhere in his mind that his father made a wrong choice still lingering in his mind. He came upon the door which led to the hall where his father sat and made a slow walk. He soon reached the place and saw his father sitting there with his eyes closed. "Was it the right choice, Tusan?" Ashur asked in a low whisper. Hagoromo opened his eyes, which seemed to give an eerie purplish glow, and had several concentric circles and a small black dot as a pupil. He stared at his younger son for a while and answered, "Ashur, the world has always been in constant fighting and wars, and has started on some of the most unthinkable things. Human life is a precious thing that should not be wasted in fighting wars. I believe that one day, the world shall know true peace. Love and compassion are an essential part of that. Indra is turning more and more like my mother each passing day. Bringing peace to the world via power and dominance is only temporary, and with time people come to fear the power dominating them as they cannot comprehend it. Come here, my son, I shall now pass on to you what is now yours." Ashur approached his father, whereupon, Hagoromo touched Ashur's forehead with his 2 fingers, and passed on his Yang chakra, also included 6 path senjutsu powers. In another part of the village, Indra had just killed his 2 most loyal followers with a tear-stained face, have a single thought in his mind: whenever someone close to me dies, my Sharingan evolves. Soon, his Sharingan evolved to the Mangekyo Sharingan, 3 tomos converging in together to take the shape of a whirlpool. Furious over his father's choice and being denied what he felt was his, Indra challenged his father's decision. Overcome with anger, jealousy, and hate, Indra attacked Ashur, claiming what he felt was his birthright. However, with the help of others' chakra converging with his and his Rikido, 6 paths, powers, Ashur awakened the ability to use Muton and defeat his older brother. Indra, not taking his loss lightly, left the area before stating he would never follow his way of Ninshu, and spend his life trying to destroy him. A few weeks after Indra had left, Hagoromo was counting his final few months on his bed. He knew he didn't have very long to live. He also knew once he died, the Jubi would be free again. To prevent that, he separated the chakra of the 10 tails into 9 separate parts and, using Omnutin, Bunbutsu Sozo, creation of all things, made bodies for the 9 chakras ranging from Ichibi, 1 tail, to Kyuubi, 9 tails. He later breathed life into his 9 children. Hagoromo called the Bijus his children, and put the chakra in their respective bodies, each Biju having a different ability. A few months later, Hagoromo went to his mindscape to have a few last words with his 9 children. He looked at Kurama, Kyuubi, with a somber look on his face. Kurama had a few tears rolling down his face, although he was trying hard to keep up the tough act. He was his eldest child and knew how much it would hurt him. A few seconds later, he looked at all of them with a serene smile on his face and said, "I will not live much longer." Shikaku, 1 tail, Madat Abi, 2 tails, Isobu, 3 tails, Son Goku, 4 tails, Kakuro, 5 tails, Seiken, 6 tails, Chimei, 7 tails, Jayuki, 8 tails, and Kurama, 9 tails. Even if you are far apart, you will always be together. You will be in different sizes from how you are now and have different names. But there will come a time when you will be led down the right path. I hope you learn what true strength is. Hagoromo looks at Kurama and smiles slightly, and says, before that time. That day Hagoromo knew there would come a time when someone would be born to bring peace or destruction. Soon after his death, Ashura had 3 children. Roku Otsutsuki, that was later known as Roku Uzumaki, was the founder of the Uzumaki clan. Ashura entrusted him with the sword Dark Blood before he left the world. He lived longer than all his siblings, dying in his sleep at the age of 249. Ahana Otsutsuki was the one who created the most powerful Kenjutsu moves. She was known around the world as the Red Silence. She later married Roku and gave birth to 7 kids, 4 boys and 3 girls. Ashura gave her the most powerful scroll, the Silent Secret, but Ahana could never understand what the scroll could do. The scroll was blank, and no one could write anything on it, and could not even be destroyed by fire or any kind of ninchu, therefore was soon forgotten after a few centuries. Tsukatsu Otsutsuki was given the Staff of Elements by Ashura, and was passed down to children and grandchildren. He later was known as Tsukatsu Senju, the founder of the Senju clan, which would start a long rivalry with the Uchiha clan. Indra Otsutsuki had taken the war fan of his father before he left, passing it down to his future generations. Indra soon founded the Uchiha clan and had 5 kids, 2 boys and 3 girls. Ateso Uchiha, Demonaka Uchiha, Atara Uchiha, Sanada Uchiha and Ilka Uchiha. Each one was born with the ability to use Sharingan, later Mingekyo Sharingan. Naruto listened to Hagoromo throughout the whole story, and he knew that wars had been going on for a long time, but to see that it has been almost 2 millennia since Hagoromo left this world, and the humans were still on the cycle of hatred. Would it ever end? Naruto asked himself, not knowing the answer yet. "You said you wanted to tell me about my father," Naruto stated. Hagoromo nodded his head. He didn't have that much longer in this world, but wanted to know what Naruto wanted to do with his life. He believed Naruto to be the one to either bring peace or destruction, but with how Naruto was being raised, and he was worried about what he could do. Usually, he would want to wait until Naruto reached at least 10 years old to approach him, but he had no time left. "I will, but before I talk about that," he suddenly clapped his hands, and 2 figures came out behind Hagoromo. Naruto eyed both of them. He couldn't help but have a feeling that he had met them before. The first had a weird friendly face and was smiling, but the second one was eyeing Naruto almost like he expected to fight the kid. The second one had long dark hair that reached his middle back, a strange war fan tied behind his back and wearing red armor. Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.